Hello and thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Thursday, June the 15th edition of our video devotionals. We call it Trusting Thursday. And I hope your day's going well. And I think weather-wise, we're probably at what we would consider about normal temperatures and that normal feel of right before summer. And I think officially, summer begins, June 20th or 21st. So we're right there on the door officially of summer. And we had a warm winter, as I mentioned that many times. Had a cold spring, and now we're just kind of getting to where I guess it would be considered our normal temperatures. But at any rate, we'll take it. And my gardens are growing, looking good. Hopefully, if you planted a garden or you're interested in your lawn looking really nice and flowers and all that, hopefully everything's looking good where you're at. Otherwise, let's jump into our Today book. So we read something most of the time from each day of the year. There's some kind of a famous event. And it says here on June the 15th, 1215, that's a long time ago, the Magna Carta was signed. I think our Declaration of Independence has a lot of the principles that was found in the Magna Carta. 1520, Martin Luther was excommunicated from the Catholic Church. 1836, Arkansas was admitted to the Union. So I guess we can call that happy birthday to the state of Arkansas. If you're from there, have any connections, and there you go. And then 1849, James Polk died. And of course, he was one of our presidents. So that's from the Today book. Now, today we begin a new book as far as our devotions go. We're in the book of Job today. My reading today was chapters 1 through 4, and we're going to read a portion from chapter 1 and a portion from chapter 3. So right before we do that, again, thank you for all who watch. Appreciate all the interactions we have. And if we can pray for folks along the way, then that'd be great too. All right, so Job, very unique book. And so we're going to begin in verse number 8 of chapter 1. It says, "And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil," or hates evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "Doth Job fear God for naught?" All right, notice verse 10. This is kind of where I'm going to connect with chapter 3 here. Hast not thou made an hedge about him, like a fence, a protection, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. Now we know from this point until we get to chapter 3 here, we know that what's going to happen is Job's going to lose his possessions, his wealth. He's going to lose his children. He's going to lose his servants. And then there's going to be this second encounter with God and Satan. And basically Satan says, well, I see where he's at. He's holding fast his integrity, as we use that language there from the Bible. But if you let me touch his body, he'll succumb. He'll curse you to your face. And God says, you can touch his body. I'm going to give you permission, but you can't take his life. And we know that Job, of course, encountered that great trial of the health issue itself, besides the other that he went through. So what happens in chapter 3? Then Job begins to speak, and notice what he says. "After this opened Job his mouth and cursed his day. And Job spake and said, Let the day perish wherein I was born, and the night in which it was said, There is a man-child conceived. Let that day be darkness, let not God regard it from above, neither let the light shine upon it." In other words, he's saying, I wish I was never born. I wish that day almost didn't even exist, because I was born on that particular day, his birthday. And he's saying, that's what I feel at this present time. Then we're skipping down here to toward the end of that chapter. And he said here, "Why is light given to a man whose way is hid?" Now he's talking about this idea of being with God. Now notice the next phrase, "and whom God hath hedged in." Remember, Satan is the one who says, well, you put a hedge about him, about all that he has, and basically drop that and let me go in and do what I can do. And Satan did, of course. But here's Job saying, he acknowledged this hedge that he had about him. And he says, "For my sighing cometh before I eat, and my roarings are poured out like the waters. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came." I don't know if it's Job's way of saying, I didn't take advantage or take disadvantage of God because I had this hedge. I lived for God. I trusted God. and maybe even thank God for the hedge. And when he says that thing which has, the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me. Maybe it was the dropping, maybe it was the realizing that that hedge ever left. Imagine what kind of position he would have been in, and the position he's actually in now. So two things here. Number one is, have you ever felt or said to yourself or even to somebody else, I wish I was never born because of some circumstance you find yourself in? It might even be, now in Job's case, this is a trial to show that God will allow things to happen to his servant or servants because they are in the will of God. But what if you've ever done something and you knew for a fact you were out of the will of God, and you knew that the chastisement or the judgment of God was upon you, and in light of that, you said, I wish I was never born. And you looked at yourself like that. Well, let me just say this. Probably every Christian has probably felt that way to some extent, perhaps. I mean, I can't say, I'm just saying, things are in our life, and we're going to go through trials and tribulations. And I think there comes a time when we feel that way. And if you say, I never have, well, okay. And if you're out there and you say, I have, well, let me just say this. Job was in that position. And whether or not it's because you have brought it upon yourself, we'll say, God's chastisement, or you did not, as in the case of Job, either way. If you're God's child, realize God wanted you to be born, and you were born. That's what's so wicked about the abortion mindset that, well, they're not born yet. And, if we take that life or end that life, it's no big deal. It is a big deal to God. Before I knew thee, I formed thee, God speaks about. So the point, though, is I want to reach out to anybody that's feeling really down and low about themselves. And, the great Job said it, and I guess any of us could say it. And I know in this case, it was a great trial, and Job wasn't being punished or chastised. It was just a great trial. And you may have to go through something like that. Maybe you have, maybe not to the extent of Job. And you never know. We may never know about people because we don't know them. But imagine even somewhere in the world, there's someone that's gone through what Job has gone through or will. But either way, we must realize that I guess it was the natural reaction to say that, because Job had known the presence of God. At this point now, it's not like God had abandoned Job, but there's this idea that God is not going to walk up to Job at the present time and say, hey, Job, you just hang in there. This is a great trial. This is going to be a book in the Bible one day, and just get through it. It has nothing to do with your lifestyle as far as you've sinned or done wrong. In fact, it has more to do with the fact that you are living right. But God didn't do that. So here we have Job going through what he's going to say, and then he's got 3 and eventually 4 friends that will say what they've got to say, and then we'll get into the books. We want to get ahead of ourselves. But I just want to reach out to anybody that has felt or feels that way at the present time. Then you realize there's a God who loves you, cares about you, and if you've done something wrong, then you can get that right with God. God wants that. If you've done nothing wrong, you feel like the world is on top of you and you feel like you're going through a great trial, then let me just tell you something. God says, you know what? You just hang in there. I wanted you to be born. Don't curse your day. And God says, I'm not going to do that. And I think that's important. The other thing, just very quickly, that hedge. Thank God we do have the hedge, and God does protect and keep us safe from Satan, if nothing else, but also any other thing that would be detrimental to the child of God in terms of an enemy coming in and doing something against God, that God will say, oh, I didn't see that one, or I couldn't help that. Oh, God allows just like he allowed this. So I hope that helps you today. And we're going to close right there. So otherwise, tomorrow's Fateful Friday, end of another work week in school. I was going to say school week. Already school, I think, is out for everybody. But at any rate, be the end of the work week, all right? And so you be safe, you be healthy, and Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.